Hello everybody, welcome back to Ramblings. Conor here, hope you are doing fantastically well. And before I'm starting with the video, I want to just put out a little disclaimer. The reason why there was no video from me at the weekend, I'll explain why Joe wasn't on there later on as well, and on his Monday Night Football. But the reason I wasn't, I'll be brutally honest with you guys, I didn't feel that I represented myself and all Leeds TV with the utmost decorum after the Middlesbrough game. I'm not a big fan of an instant match reaction, and I did an instant match reaction, wasn't best pleased with it, took it off. I'm here to inform you guys, educate you. I didn't really do any research and went on point blank and did a little bit of a review, which in my personal opinion, a lot of people didn't. It was received really well, you know, over 5,000 views, over 420 likes. But in my personal opinion, I wasn't happy with it. And it doesn't matter how many likes we get or views we get on certain videos. If we don't like them, we will take them down. And I took a personal stance really to take the video down. So I took the video down. There was nothing that harmful in there. I just didn't like how it was represented. Anyway, I took it down, uploaded the video a little bit later on. That was just a bit of a YouTube malfunction, didn't let me upload it. And then, unfortunately, we had the live stream, which I did later on because I didn't want you guys to miss out on the content. Did the live stream a little bit later on, and unfortunately, the live stream corrupted right at the end. I'm sure a lot of you did watch that. So at least you managed to get to see some content, but unfortunately, the video didn't publish, which is unfortunately why a lot of you can't go back and watch it. But anyway, some more important things. Middlesbrough, the recap. So what did I think? So a lot of you won't have seen what I thought. Everything's sort of written down here. I've made a lot of notes today about this game coming up and the Borough game in particular. What did I think? Leeds United were okay that game. You know, any other season, I'd take a draw at Borough as a very good result. But it didn't happen this time for Leeds to get the win in particular. We did get the draw. And I just didn't feel it really flowed from Leeds United. Once again, a sluggish start, and I think we're just going to have to get used to that. I don't think there's going to be any change in that, to be quite honest with you. You know, we've called for a little bit of a change in system, a change in fluidity, a change in dynamic, pragmatism, as I always say. And there was something a little bit different. We had a system change. We had a player in who we've not had for pretty much the whole season starting. Then we had two strikers on the field. So there definitely was a definite change in dynamic and a definitive change in dynamic as well from Leeds United. It was a different look. Calvin Phillips obviously coming back into the squad, Pablo Hernandez taking the bench, and Leeds looks a very, very different outfit, but an outfit that we all appreciated nonetheless. But we started once again very sloppily, Leeds didn't get to grips with the game at all. Borough really came at us. I thought the first 15 minutes it was a bit, no one really up the ante. I thought it was very level pegging for the first 15 minutes to 20 minutes, but then Borough started creating a few chances. I said it on my original preview, I don't think there were massively clear-cut chances for Borough. I think later on in the game, Leeds had a hell of a lot of, and when I say a hell of a lot, I sort of mean the substantial nature of chances we had. I feel we had two absolute gilt-edged chances, whereas Borough, I think that, okay, there were half chance missed for me. You know, the Ryan shot and one, the sort of Saville shot from outside the box saved, and then, you know, obviously the Flint header that was missed, but you know, I've heard some Borough fans saying on another day would have been 3-0 up, but, you know, I mean, if you were 3-0 up after those chances, you know, that's a very clinical team being able to dispatch those chances. Whereas Leeds, I think you're getting 95% of the Championship putting those two chances in the back of the net. Do 95% of Championship teams create those chances in a game situation like that? Probably not, and that's where you've got to give kudos to Leeds. But once again, it's the effective nature of Leeds' final third that isn't there. But anyway, we move on to Swansea. Now, Swansea, for me, one of the best teams we played this season. I thought they were thoroughly excellent against Leeds United. Very similar styles, possession-based football, play the ball on the ground, like to pass it out from the back. And I was really impressed with Swansea. I didn't expect anything else, to be quite frank. I know they're a very good team. We know they're a very good team. You've got to bear in mind that they've just come down from the Premier League last season, which I think a lot of people do tend to forget anyway. Got a lot of, you know, even with their transfer and their wage budget from seasons gone by, you know, that's trickled down into the Premier League, where they've still got players like Wayne Routledge, you know, Nathan Dyer, Ollie McBurney, I guess, on the payroll, Leroy Fer. So, and since last January, the January just gone there, Jefferson Montero as well. So, you know, those people on your payroll, you're always going to have quality going forward, always going to have decent bits and bats at the back as well. So, you know, They haven't hit the dizzy heights yet, though. There's no way they've hit the dizzy heights yet. I think it's going to be a next season thing for Swansea. Similarly to it with what we saw with Villa, really. You know, I mean, Villa have never managed to hit those dizzy heights, but there's definitely been a massive improvement in quality from Villa in the play, the styles, etc., etc. But yeah, they haven't hit those heights yet. I mean, do we expect them to hit the heights against Leeds United? Potentially. I'll get onto their away form in a little bit, but Swansea definitely have that potential on their day to beat any side in this division. They've got the quality going forward. They haven't necessarily got the quality at the back, but on the road, they've actually got a very decent defensive record, and I'll get into that in a little while. But only 6 points off the playoffs. You know, we're looking at 45 points to play for, and they are only 6 points off the playoffs. You know, we know the differentials in this league. Leeds United sitting second in the league, 3 points ahead. You know, it's a small margin. Swansea only 6 points off the playoffs, so it's not undoable at all. You know, and potentially there could be an episode this season. Touch wood, we hope not. That Leeds play Swansea again, you know, that could be a potential happener. So the problem for me, though, with Swansea at this minute in time is the consistency. You know, throughout the season, they've not been able to churn out performance on top of performance on top of performance. We saw at the start of the season when they went away to Sheffield United, got the 2-1 victory, and they were excellent in that second half, and you really thought they were going to kick on from then. They didn't manage to do that. But, you know, they do have the capabilities to hurt teams. You know, I remember watching them away at Brentford, and they were excellent. Pressed Brentford very, very high up the field. Quite simple, once again, similar styles, and they were able to hurt Brentford. Brentford were playing out from the back. Swansea do something very, very similar. And, you know, if you're playing those types of football teams, there's always going to be a high press, high intensity, etc., etc. And that's what prevailed through that game in particular. So Swansea do like playing away from home. They do like playing that possession-based football, and that's because there's a lack of pressure. They're able to go and do the things, press the ball high up the field, and retain possession, which they do excellently well. You know, when they're at their full throttle. The main man, obviously, Ollie McBurnie. You know, we talk about Dan James being the main man as well, but I kind of wanted to veer off into Ollie McBurnie territory because I think he can hurt us more, and he has hurt us. You know, 2 goals earlier on this season, he sort of dragged Ayling around the pitch, and he was excellent. I thought he was excellent. I think he would fit into this Leeds United squad. I like the way he passes the ball. He gets shots off very quickly. He links up well with the wide men. Brings other people into play as well, the likes of, you know, Jay Fulton and Matty Grimes when he's playing as well, brings the midfield in. He's an excellent striker. I really, really like Ollie McBurnie. You know, whatever's gone on Twitter, I'm not really that bothered about, but on the field of play, he's an excellent footballer. 27 games, 13 goals. Yeah, and as I said, great heading. You know, 4 goals away from Swansea this season with his head. So, you know, he's prolific in that aspect away from home. You know, I think they've only managed about 13 goals away from home this season. So the fact that he's got 3 headed goals just shows how prolific he can be away from home. So Swansea away from home, they've not scored many goals, but the goals they have scored away from home have been down to Ollie McBurnie with his head and with his feet. You know, he's got magic feet. One Swansea fan described him to me as, you know, the magic man down there. Very good on the ball, very good off the ball as well, works very hard, he's aggressive, and he's a tireless attacker. He will not stop till the end, you know, very fit as well. So he's able to go right to the last ember. So we're expecting that, you know, Pontus and Cooper are really going to have a tough game against Ollie McBurnie, and I've got absolutely no doubts about that. So he for me is definitely the key man. Obviously, you move on to Dan James. Dan James, I think, will start the game. I think he's going to go out there and prove a point. The fact that he, you know, nearly got a move to Leeds United, he'll still be thinking in the back of his head, if I impress now, Leeds are going to definitely come in for me in the summer. And, you know, on the flip side, if he wants to stay at Swansea, they're going to want to offer him a contract. So he's going to want to do everything he can this season in his power to do to reap the benefits, really, reap the results. And I fully expect him to have a decent performance against Leeds. I guess one differential to that would be the fact that Bielsa's come out today and said that he wants to start Luke Ayling. He believes in Luke Ayling. I do feel that could be a weakness. I think Dan James is a reason we were after Dan James. He was Bielsa's #1. He's an excellent player. You know, we've seen it from the compilations, the montages, but, you know, I've got a few Swansea mates. Once again, I've got bloody mates all around the Championship, but they really highly rate him. Very good player, very direct, and you know, with the form that Ayling's been replicating over the past 8 games, as much as I love Ayling, I do think he should have been taken out the firing line for this game, and I'm just praying that that doesn't come and bite us on the bum, really. But they're very similar to how Brendan Rodgers used to play, the Martinez play of football, you know, the Mediterranean flair, coming from back to front very quickly, utilising the central defensive midfielder, spraying the ball left and right, very similarly to how Calvin Phillips does it for Leeds United. So you can see how they have sort of adapted from the old Swansea into the new Swansea. They're not as consistent, they're not as quality on the ball, but they do have those aspects of play. But as I've said, how they play suits to how they play away from home. You know, they come away, shackles are off, the pressure is off, and they're able to build from the back. You know, they do play out from the back, which could be an advantage for Leeds United because we like to press high. But at the same time, we've seen against Brentford, we've seen against numerous teams this season that Swansea like to do the exact same, and they've got a lot of quality to do that going forward. You know, Ollie McBurney, Dan James, as I've said, Conor Roberts does push up as well. You know, Leroy Fer as well. So they've got lots and lots of quality going forward. Quality coming off the bench as well. Selena, who's their number 10 now. I watched the highlights against Millwall at the weekend, and he was excellent, very slick, very similar like Pablo. I remember a couple of seasons ago when he played for Ipswich, was on loan from Manchester City, scored an absolute belter against Leeds United. You know, he's a very, very good player on loan from Manchester City, so they have an abundance of quality going forward. So if they are able to hurt Leeds, you know, if we're not confident on the ball, like for me, Luke Ayling's been a little bit dodgy at the back. I don't think Alioski's as composed as maybe a Barry Douglas from playing out from the back. That is definitely where Swansea could hurt Leeds United tomorrow night. But, you know, at the start of the season, you'd have probably said Swansea were top and Leeds were going to be 13th, 12th, 13th, wherever Swansea are. You know, we said it was going to be roles reversed. They're a Premier League side. But this game, for me, is all about efficiency. You know, we've seen it with Swansea. They're not consistent enough. When they do put those games in where they are excellent, they do get results and they have got the quality. The only issue for Leeds United is the fact that every team, I've always said this, seems to step up against Leeds United, and that's why it's always been so difficult for Leeds to get out of this division. You know, Borough at the weekend, selling out, you know, their biggest home crowd of the season. A lot of people don't even class it as a derby, but their biggest game of the season, selling out against Leeds United. It's going to be very similar to Swansea. You know, we've had a little bit of history with Dan James now. We've had the Twitter spat with Ollie McBurney and some absolute idiot Leeds fans, you know, certain ones. That's the thing as well. I hate it when you get Leeds fans, and just fans in general, interacting with footballers, trying to get them to come out and say something. I think it's completely, you know, I think it's completely out of order, to be honest. I don't see the point. And even if it is an opposition player going out and trying to abuse him, I think it's absolutely substandard and subpar. And if you're doing that, you really need to sort of evaluate what you're doing on social media, to be quite frank. But as I've said, you know, the high press starts with McBurney, but they're confident with their back line. They're very confident. I don't think they necessarily should be because they've not got an excellent back line. Carter Vickers, probably, who was at Sheffield United last season, is one that I would pick out. But, you know, they like to press high, and the reason they press high is because they've got confidence in the midfield, confidence in the back line, so they're able to do that. Starts with McBurney, continues with James, and throughout their offensive outlet, really. But like I said, they haven't conceded many goals away, actually. After doing a little bit of a read, they haven't conceded that many goals away, but they do concede from set pieces. Similarly to Leeds United, they're not a massive team, but I think they're even short. I think Carter Vickers is sort of the main man at the back, and he's sort of about maybe like 5'11", 6 foot bridge. And obviously Van der Horn's a little bit of a bigger lad, but I just think throughout the team, throughout the back line, you know, Conor Roberts at the back in particular, and John on the other side as well, they're not a massive team, so can Leeds hurt them on set pieces? You know, we haven't been bad from set pieces this season. I'd be surprised if they hurt us from set pieces. They're not that sort of team, but I do think Leeds have that in the locker with the size advantage. Will we see Patrick Bamford get on the end of something? Will we see Izzy Brown come into the fore, get on the end of something, a 6'3" individual? Will we see Halme come on, maybe turn it into a back three at some stage in the game, which will give Leeds an aerial advantage? These are all the things we need to consider when we're going up against a tactical team like Swansea. They also set up with zonal marking, which for me doesn't work. It gives the opponents 10-15 yards to run onto you. So if Leeds are able to expose that, then I think we'll do excellently well. But it does give Leeds a chance because they do play out as well. The high press incorporated by Leeds United, for me, has to be from the off. You know, if we do that, if we start the game quickly, we will win the game tomorrow. But what we've got to be careful of with Swansea, they do like to hit you on the counter-attack away from home, and I think that is how they're going to set up against Leeds United. We've had Birmingham, we've had Brentford, and we've had Norwich. They've done the blueprint for Leeds United at Ellen Road, all getting victory, well, aside from Brentford, all doing well at Ellen Road. You know, Leeds coming on, them defending in packs, then quickly hitting on the counter-attack. And I thoroughly believe, even without an Ollie McBurney in the side, who potentially could be injured, Richardson will come in. I do feel that Swansea will be incorporating that into their thought process, because I think the blueprint's been set on Leeds United. When teams come to Ellen Road, They sit back, sit back, sit back, a little bit like Hull have done pretty recently, and then they smack us on the counter-attack, you know. So that's what Leeds have got to be fearful of. We have to be fearful of that every single home game, and Swansea do have the quality. So the lineups anyway. So Swansea's lineup, they're probably looking at Mulder in net, and then they're looking at Conor Roberts at the back, Carter Vickers, then Van der Horn as a centre-back partnership. That's been pretty consistent throughout the season. Left back of John, the centre defensive midfield, quite similarly to how Leeds are setting up at the minute. They've got a centre defensive midfielder who screens that back four, looking at Matt Grimes. I really think we can get at this lad. I really think we can get him. You know, he might be neat and tidy on the ball, but he's not physical. I didn't rate him was at Leeds United. You know, you've got a, you know, Billy Sharp's been at Leeds United and he's not been great. But look at him now, what, 22 goals for the season. So you can't just base someone on a season at Leeds United. I think we've had a lot of players who've come through the door who've gone on to better things at other clubs. So you can't base him on that. I think Matty Grimes will definitely come with a point to prove tomorrow. But I think that is definitely where Leeds can get him. He's nice and tidy on the ball, won't like the physical battles. So can we maybe push at some points Calvin Phillips onto him? I don't know. That'd be a nice little tactic that Leeds could deploy. Maybe Patrick Bamford coming back into that 10 role and really ruffling him up, or, you know, something a little bit similar to that. Cleat getting involved, but I think we need to roughen someone like him up. We can really get in his head as well. We've seen that, you know, with his social media spat, he doesn't like Leeds. We know he doesn't like Leeds. So can Leeds sort of get under Matty Grimes' skin? That could be potential. Going forward, they've got Byers, who scored at the weekend. Lovely little finish against Millwall. I think he's a left-footed lad. Sweet left foot volley into the side of the net, which was excellent. It seems like a decent player through the Swansea youth product system. Selena, who we know all about, the number 10, played for Ipswich, was excellent for Ipswich under Mick McCarthy. City have learned him out. He's one of their players. Would I have preferred him to Harrison? They're different type of players, but Selena definitely has the quality, potentially even more. He's sort of their Pablo. And then going forward, you know, we know what they are going forward. Dan James on one side, who I think is going to... We've really got to keep tabs on this kid because he's an excellent player. Routledge for me is going to be on the other side. You know, Wayne Routledge, Premier League vet, and then potentially Baker Richardson in the middle if McBurney isn't playing. My prediction, I'm going to go with it's going to be a tough one for me, guys, to be brutally honest with you. You know, I'm probably going to get a lot of dislikes for this, but I've put a lot of my opinions out on social media recently, what I think of the next coming games. I'm praying it's going to be a 3-1 Leeds. That's what I'm hoping. That's what my heart tells me. My head, unfortunately, tells me that I think it's going to be 1-1 or potentially, I know this sounds horrible, but a 2-1 loss. I just feel that the fullbacks at Leeds United, we really could be exposed against the pace that Swansea have going forward. I'm praying I'm wrong, guys. I'm hoping, and my heart's saying 3-1, my head's saying elsewise. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think, and I'll catch you in a bit.